That's fine. No.
I have another.
It's fine. It's fine. We will be talking about student-led conferences, what those look like, what to expect at your student-led conference. We know you guys have already gone through those. We go through it a second time. The reason we do it a second time is because culmination's coming up and graduation's coming up, and there's a lot of information and seeing growth. It's also very, very important for you to know how your student is doing for when they move on to high school as well, to kind of see what you guys can be doing at home in order to best support them so we're completely ready for high school. We're also going to be talking about grades and data, a health and development class that we'll be having, our capstone. So really super fun, exciting events starts at this point, which is going to be where you guys are going to be welcome to come in and see what the amazing projects your kids have been working on. We'll talk about culmination requirements and review those. I'm sure you guys have already known this. We're just going to review it one more time. Talk about the at-risk process. So if you are concerned, like, I don't know if my child is culminating, believe me, you have either been contacted and are more than aware of it if your child is at risk of not culminating or if they will be culminating, okay? We'll also talk about the culmination week, what that looks like, and then Vista Meridian will be here at 6 o'clock to make a presentation about their high school as well. So.
Y aquí es el resumen de nuestra agenda. Básicamente, encima de lo que ven aquí, también vamos a hablar sobre un clase que por el Estado es mandatorio que demos una clase de salud y desarrollo de las adolescentes. También, siendo una academia global, por favor esperen un proyecto, lo llamamos aquí la conferencia de un mundo mejor, y es el proyecto final global que cada estudiante y alumno tiene que terminar para culminarse de nuestra escuela. Y aquí ya es el resto de la agenda que ya han visto.
Perfect. All right, so student-led conferences will be on April 8th through the, there you go. April 8th through the 12th. So this is gonna be not right when we come back after spring break, but the following week. So it will be that full week. During these days, the school day is only open until 1 o'clock, and then the rest of the day is open for our actual conferences. So conferences will be in the morning, so if you need to do a morning time, then we will have those available. The other times are also in the evening, all the way up until 3:30, Monday through Wednesday. Thursday is when it's going to be our late day, so we will be here until 6 o'clock. So that will be the day that if you are working and you can't make it, Thursday is going to be that late day to make that late appointment.
Okay. Así que por favor esperan conferencias dirigidas por sus estudiantes. Esto es mandatorio, obligatorio de todas las familias. Esto va a ser la semana después de que regresamos del descanso de primavera. Así que vamos a tener una semana entera cuando regresamos. Es la próxima semana. Esta semana pueden esperar días mínimos y van a tener conferencias, opciones en la mañana y después de escuela a la 1, después de la escuela que salimos a la 1. Y si quieren quedarse o si necesitan una cita que sea más tarde como hoy, el día es jueves. El día es jueves que nos vamos a quedar hasta las 6, así que sería como el 12 o el 11 de abril para las conferencias. Oh, so it doesn't work. Y hoy les va a decir qué esperar de las conferencias.
I can use my finger, it's fine. All right, so you will be getting this packet. So in this folder, there's also going to be all of the times for the conferences on here when we will have available. And then when you do sign up, you'll be able to mark it off for your reference. What to expect. So when you come in for a student-led conference, this is truly a student-led conference, which means that your child is the one that is going to be walking you through how they're doing in their classes. They're going to be prepping for this and creating a portfolio of all of the amazing things that they're doing within their classes. And it's their job to really explain, how are they doing in classes? What is going on? What do they need extra help with? What have they done in order to get that extra help that they need? That is really going to be up to your students. So they will be the ones that are leading it. So it's extremely important that your students, 8th graders, you have to be there. You have to be there. Love you. You have to be there. Okay. They're going to be sharing portfolios. You're also going to be getting a report card. We're going to be explaining the grades in just a second because I know that's also causes a lot of anxiety with parents about when you're looking at a report card, what is good, what is bad, to see, or not what's bad, but what's of concern. You're also going to be receiving an iReady growth data sheet that's going to show you where your child's reading level and math level is currently, where they were at the beginning of the year, and then where they are currently around December time. We'll be doing a third diagnostic as well when we come back in April, which we can also share that information with you, especially those students that we need to see a little bit more growth. And then lastly, teachers will be there to present any discussions or anything that we need to talk to you about. We will be there to answer questions, but we will also be there to talk about culmination status. So if you have been contacted about your child being at risk of not culminating, you've seen a contract that we have signed that says that your child does this and this and this to ensure that they're going to culminate, we just say, yep, they're doing this, yep, we're good, we are on track for culmination, we're getting there, we are good to go. Okay? All right.
Espero que hayan leído esto, pero para resumir lo que la señora dijo, por favor recuerden a inscribirse para su día y hora para las conferencias dirigidas por estudiantes. Pueden hacer eso con las dos maestras allá antes de que se vayan. Segundo, asegúrense que cuando lleguen a esta conferencia, que lleguen con su estudiante, porque su estudiante va a dirigir la conferencia y les va a presentar todo lo que ha hecho en todas sus clases. Y lo más importante que quiero que se lleven con esto es que durante estas conferencias se discutirá el crecimiento y los niveles en lectura y matemáticas de su hijo antes de que entre en el high school.
All right. So let's talk about what you're actually going to see.
It like does it on yours too, huh?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so oftentimes when parents see the report cards, they're going to see a lot of N, like it's going to say NA. That means not assessed. That does not mean that your child hasn't done anything. That means that we as their teachers have not covered that topic because we don't actually teach them based on a letter grade. We teach them about skills. So instead of the, you have an overall social studies grade of a B, instead it's, do you understand the effects that the revolution had on the country and the creation of the United States? That's really what we're wanting to do because that is more critical thinking rather than just, hey, good job, you remember when the Declaration was written, you get an A. Okay, it's very different. So the way that the standards look is if you see an E, that is when you need to be concerned, which means that we do not physically have any document showing your kid's skill in that standard. We literally have nothing, which means that we can't give them a score because we have nothing. A 1 means that they've done the assignment, which is great, but they're not showing any meeting of the standard. We're still at the very bottom. The only thing that they have done is maybe answered one question, but we have not been able to see whether or not they're reaching their grade level or not. A 2 means you're approaching it. A 3 means they're at 8th grade level. That's awesome. We want to see the 8th grade level. A 4, the only times you guys will see a 4 on a standard grade is if your student is showing 9th, 10th, 11th grade quality work. Where you do want to see 3s and 4s is on work habits, which is the very first grade on the report card. That's where you want to see 3s and 4s. Okay?
Okay. Básicamente para resumir lo que la señora dijo, en nuestras cartas de reportaje, de calificación, si ven un NE, eso indica que no hay prueba. No, su hijo o hija no ha mostrado pruebas que podemos calificar. Así que si ve un NE, eso es un 0. Okay? Eso es lo que no queremos en sus cartas de reportaje. Y esto aquí, ustedes ya saben que un 3 es a nivel de 8 grado, esto es a nivel de high school y esto es acercándose al nivel de 8 grado. Y esto es que no cumplió con el estándar o no hizo trabajo suficiente.
The type of conversations you would be getting, so if your child does have a 1 this late within the year, if it's not something that we have actually started already, so like we've already gone through a few standards, if that grade is not improving, the conversation would not be your child's at risk of culminating, it's we are more concerned with their grade level going into high school. They're going to need extra support going into high school because they're not at grade level. if that makes more sense.
Sí, para clarificar, muy bien, gracias. Para clarificar, si su hijo o alumno está recibiendo unos, la conversación que los maestros están teniendo con su hijo es cómo podemos apoyarte y cómo podemos ayudarte para que puedas mejorar tus habilidades de estudio, ya que vas a entrar en high school. Para cumplir el estándar.
The next thing that you're going to see is the iReady diagnostic. Again, all of this information and more detailed information is going to be in the packets that you're going to get, so please don't worry that you're not memorizing all of this information. There will not be a test at the end, I promise. So the iReady data, what we want to see primarily is growth. Okay, we understand that not all students are going to be at 8th grade level within math and reading. But we want to be able to see growth. We want to be able to see that at the beginning of the year, they started at, let's say, a 3rd grade level. Now they're up to 6th grade. That makes us as their teachers extremely happy because we're seeing that there is actual growth within their iReady. Not necessarily that they're not all the way up at 8th grade, okay? So all of this information you'll be able to find. For the reading one, one of the ones that has reading, it says literature, nonfiction, like sight words. That really will help you out as a parent to say, okay, my child's not great in nonfiction reading. They need to be reading more nonfiction books. Okay, my child's not great at fiction reading. They're gonna need to read more fiction books. When I go get them books, let's go get them more fiction books rather than nonfiction, okay? Again, all of this will be given to you. We will also walk you through this during the student-led conference. So it's gonna be a lot of information that you get, but we will walk you through it. So if you have any questions or any next steps, that's what we are there to do, okay?
Y para resumir lo que dijo la señora, a ustedes le proporcionaremos datos de iReady. Para los que no saben, iReady es lo que utilizamos para medir los niveles y el crecimiento en matemáticas y lectura de su hijo. Y básicamente allí pueden ver todo el data. Lo que a nosotros nos importa es el crecimiento, así que si ve un crecimiento así, es un buen... Es bueno, pues. Y sí, no, eso es todo. Y lo demás, le vamos, si tienen preguntas sobre estos datos o hechos, les podemos contestar más personalmente las preguntas.
One last thing I also wanted to say about iReady. One of the other reasons that you can use this is not right when we come back, but in May, your students are going to be doing something called SBAC testing. That's our state testing. This is extremely important because this is going to their high school. This is also important for our own data as well. There's going to be a little bit more information that we can give you on how you can best support your student. This is your first step. So if you know that your student is having a hard time within fiction, to get them ready for that state testing so that they can really show their skills and they can be comfortable, is helping them with those skills, and we will walk you through that as well. So that's one of the other reasons why this iReady data is so unbelievably important, because it lets you know as a parent, where's my child starting first, so I can help support them while their teachers are helping to support them for that SBAC testing.
Okay. Por favor, utilice estos datos para ayudarle a comprender a su hijo que necesita para practicar más y estar mejor preparado para los exámenes en abril y mayo.
All right. Any questions about student-led conferences or grades or anything like that?
Preguntas sobre calificaciones, datos de iReady o conferencias dirigidas por estudiantes.
Sí.
¿Qué pasa con los niños que tienen un 1? Eso significa que su hijo necesita más práctica en ese estándar y debería de estar practicando ese estándar en casa. También puede asistir tutoría con sus maestros durante el tercer periodo y el cuarto periodo.
Para que se puedan graduar al siguiente nivel.
Sí se puede graduar con unos, pero graduándose con unos les pone a riesgo a lo que van a tener que confrontar en el caso. Okay. Pero sí, she was just asking, can they graduate?
What happens if they get 11
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Gracias.
All right, health and development. So according to California education, we need to provide once in middle school and then once in high school a day of health and development classes. During this day, the students are taught different subjects about their own health and development, their own bodies, how they grow. One of the other things we talk about is peer pressure, because they're going to be going into a bigger environment with high school, and that comes up even more. We're also going to be talking about what's the difference between a healthy relationship versus toxic relationships. We go over assault, we go over, having a voice. It's really an amazing day because we all, as 8th grade, like the boys go in one room, the girls go into another room, and it's a great day for us to be able to have that conversation with them and be able to let them know this information, but in a safe space. The boys are not allowed in the room with the girls, and the girls are not allowed in the room with the boys. They're actually in 2 separate classrooms across the hallway from one another as well. So they can't hear anything that's happening within those rooms as well. We do go over recognizing perspectives, acceptance, especially within the LGBTQ plus communities. We go over birth control, and we go over that. That's a lot of very personal things that you as parents do have a choice whether you want your child to participate in this or not, because it is going to be sensitive conversations that we do have with the kids. So you do have a choice to say yes or no, whether you want your child to participate. I'll stop there so then you can.
Okay. All right, no, está perfecto.
Quick before you go on.
Oh, sí, señora.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. I just want to stress that these conversations and the information that's shared with students is based on the California State Standards for Health, and the conversation is based on their, their developmental level of 8th grade, and not things that are, older than they are or for older kids. So, voy a explicar eso en español después de nuestra aula.
Ok, bueno, ahorita lo voy a traducir de todas maneras. Así que según los requisitos de los estándares en California, no importa cuál escuela asistes, tenemos que enseñarles a sus estudiantes el salud y el desarrollo. Tenemos un día en especial para enseñarles a sus hijos. Los niños y las niñas estarán separados, y estos son los temas que pasaríamos, por ejemplo, la anatomía de niñas y niños, agresión sexual y cómo acudir en busca de ayuda a esto, cómo aceptar a la gente LGBTQ, cómo usar un condón y todo esto aquí lo que ven aquí. Tú como el padre sí necesitamos su permiso y sí puede optar por para que no participe su estudiante, pero sí esperamos que sí. Y si querías repetir lo que dijiste.
Sí, solamente quería asegurarles que esta conversación es basado en los estándares del estado de California de salud para los estudiantes de octavo grado, y esta conversación está a nivel de los estudiantes. Entonces no compartimos cosas que son más por una edad mayor, son por su nivel de desarrollo. Y como dijeron los maestros, ustedes como padres tienen que dar su permiso para que su hijo participe en estas lecciones, y si no, tienen la opción de decir que no. Okay?
You will be getting one of these folders. So again, this is a lot of information, especially this, and as a parent, I would understand that if you want to take the time to really read through it. Wow, look at me being clumsy. You will receive in the pocket that says to return. It's going to be in both English and in Spanish. You only need to sign one. We want to make sure that it's in both English and in Spanish. Everything that Miss Alessandro just said, so those standards, everything that's required to us by California education codes that we have to follow as a California school, is on here for you to read and to review as well. So you literally can go into depth about what your child will be learning. They will not learn anything outside of these standards. We literally stick to these as guidelines. We cannot go past that. If there ever is a question, because we always do open the floor for questions for the children, we make the determination as teachers whether that is an appropriate question, or say that is a conversation you need to have with your parents. And so things, especially when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, as far as like choice, as far as like those things are concerned, we definitely create an environment of acceptance. However, those serious conversations get left for you guys to have those conversations with your children. So there is a paper at the very back because there is a return. We just need that last paper because you will sign whether you want to opt your child in, meaning that they will participate, or you will opt your child out. No, this does not mean that your student loses out on a day of instruction. They'll just be in a different classroom in another part of the school, working on their capstone, working on any assignments that they need. Okay? All right. I know that was a lot. I apologize.
Aquí no está bien. Aquí, aquí van a llenar un formulario, un permiso, pues. No importa si la respuesta es un sí o si no, necesitamos este permiso. Así que sería muy ventajosa si llenan esto antes de que se vayan, pero si no está bien. Y solo quería decir lo que ella dijo, que nosotros que damos esta lección usamos discreción con las preguntas de los estudiantes. Cualquier cosa que parezca inapropiada quedará en manos de los padres para responder y nosotros vamos a pasarlo. Y otra vez quería enfatizar que esta es una lección apropiada para la edad de los en el octavo grado.
Okay, any?
Can I add one more thing?
Yes.
Claro.
Sorry, just because it was a lot. Para los padres que deciden que su hijo no va a participar, todavía van a venir a la escuela ese día y se van a otro salón con otro maestro para terminar otros trabajos y todavía están en la escuela ese día, pero no participarán en estas lecciones con los maestros. Okay?
¿Pregunta?
Yes.
Next time I give her to do it, and she goes in there and then she just feels like, oh, it's too crazy for her. Like, oh, that's not it. She'll be able to do it, right?
1,000,000%. So there is going to be, we will have TAs there that if there is a student that does feel uncomfortable during any part at all, they'll be able to walk out and then they will go to another room and then they'll just go over with the student kind of like what the agenda is for the day and be like, okay, I'm not okay with being in this one, I feel uncomfortable, but I want to come back for this next conversation. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a complete choice thing where they're not stuck in there. The information is extremely important. Like I said, it is not a, I'm going to be talking at them or Mr. Alloway is going to be talking at them the whole time. It's more of a conversation and it's more of, it's an open conversation. It ends up being actually like a really cool day for us as their teachers because we're able to, you know, give them that insight and give them what they need so that they feel more comfortable, if that makes sense.
Así que si su hijo o hija se siente incómodo después de ya que empiece las clases o la lección, está bien que no terminan la educación de la clase, podemos asistirlo con nuestros asistentes, pero sí. Esto es voluntario para los estudiantes, tienen que escoger qué hacerlo, pero todos tienen que firmar esto, que sí o que no. Gracias.
If you are still unsure, we definitely want you as parents to feel more than comfortable saying yes or no to this. And if you are still feeling unsure, we are not going to be holding this until after student-led conferences. So if it is something that you are wondering about or it is something you want to have clarification about, please feel free to either reach out to us on Parent Square and we can answer any and all questions that you have. If we don't have the answer to those questions, we know where to send you. But we can also answer those questions during the student-led conference as well if you want to have a more in-depth conversation of any concerns. Because you really should be going into this feeling confident to say yes or no, that you're comfortable with your child being in that room or not.
No tendremos estas clases hasta el medio de abril, así que si tiene alguna pregunta hasta entonces, nos puede preguntar a nosotros o a la directora Alessandra.
Okay, perfect. Okay, fun things. I like fun things. Those are serious things. Let's talk about fun things. For the rest of this year, your students have been doing this phenomenal project called the capstone. So here at Vista Heritage Global Academy, we are a global academy, which means that we teach our kids not just about what's happening within history or not what's just happening within the classroom, but what's happening around the world. We're also trying to teach them that just because they are 13 and 14-year-olds does not mean that they cannot sit there and say, I'm not okay with something happening with them in my community. I want to make a difference. So for instance, within social studies and with English, they've been working on a presentation that's called Capstone. So for some of the students, it's writing a letter to a government official about an issue that's happening within their community that they're going to send out. This is an issue that I see. Homelessness is an issue because of this. and they've done the research behind it. Some of them are just doing a presentation, some of them are doing essays. And so a way for us to celebrate this and to really put it out there in the community, not just for our community, but the community as a whole within Santa Ana, we will be holding what's called the Better World Conference and Expo. This is going to be a day where your students are actually going to be in Temple Caravaggio, right next door, and they're going to be presenting their capstone projects with their groups about what their project is, what they focused on, what was their take action, how did they contribute to their community. It should be a really, really amazing, fun day. We're also going to be having an expo there where it's going to be showing you what the kids have done so far on like posters. All of more information about that will be coming later through Parent Square. But please, please, please mark your calendars. If I had an actual date, it's going to be at the end of May. It's going to be the end of May. Yeah, so end of May. It will be from 9:30 to 2:30 at Temple Caravaggio. You are more than welcome to just come in to see your student. We'll have a list of like what times your students are going to be presenting and not. We'll also videotape it so that you can watch it later as well. So it should be a really fantastic event. Please come out and support. It's going to be really, really, really fun.
Okay.
Okay, go.
All right. Siendo parte de una academia global, esto es el proyecto final de los estudiantes, lo llamamos Mundo Mejor. Los estudiantes han estado trabajando en un proyecto global final y esto se ve un poco diferente para cada estudiante, pero básicamente se trata de los problemas que el estudiante ve en su comunidad sobre lo que les gustaría tomar medidas contra. Estamos organizando esta conferencia que se llama Mundo Mejor para darles una experiencia real a sus hijos en cómo presentar sobre un tema que les importa en grupo. Va a haber explicación, argumentos, presentación de soluciones, visuales y espere que todo esto sea a los finales de mayo. Tendremos una fecha final pronto para ustedes en el Templo Calvario, porque esto es como el proyecto culminante.
The other thing that will be happening that day is Mr. Alloway has amazingly been leading our group with this. So we have what's called the ISSN network, which is what our global education comes from. They do every single year. We did this last year, and it was an amazing trip. We took our students to Baltimore, and they actually presented at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. And then we got to take them to Washington, D.C. to go meet with our local representative, Lou Carrera, at the Capitol steps, and they got to go talk to them. So it is a phenomenal organization. They are doing it again this year. This year we're actually going to Boston. So this year is a Boston trip. So we will be taking them there, and then we will also have other plans to take them to different parts of the city or the state of Massachusetts to be able to go experience that. They will be presenting literally right across the street from Harvard in Boston. So it's going to be phenomenal. It's an amazing trip. At the Better World Conference, this is where we're actually going to be announcing which students are going to be invited to go. There are a limited amount of students that are allowed to go because of vouchers. So it's going to be based on merit. It's going to be based on student participation. It's going to be based on how students are actually doing with the project. And this is what's going to determine it to see who Mr. Alloway and myself would like to take to Boston with us to go present to a bigger conference of global leaders. And so that is going to be the Better World Conference, or that's going to be the student-led collaborative. When we have more information, right now all we have is that we're going to Boston and that there's meetings every other like Tuesday, which is if your students have been staying late, they've been here with us, we promise. But once we have more information about travel, once we have more information about that and any students that are interested of going, we will set up a different night for that. That's going to be specifically that to give you that information. Okay? All right.
Muy bien. Así que nosotros tenemos una oportunidad impresionante. Es esto lo que estamos hablando sobre. Es una colaboración dirigida por estudiantes que nosotros también nos encargamos de, la señora Melo y yo. Aún se puede, aún están a tiempo de los estudiantes si quieren participar, a unirse y participar en nuestra colaboración. Nosotros reunimos cada 2 martes. El año pasado fue el primer año que tuvimos esta oportunidad y presentamos en Baltimore y Washington, D.C. sobre los impactos de la contaminación oceánica. Okay? Este año no hemos decidido cuál será el problema o el problema de la comunidad, pero este año pueden esperar que se presentarán un grupo de estudiantes en Boston, cerca de la Universidad de Harvard. Y quiero clarificar para todos que cualquier persona puede participar en este colaborativo. Será los estudiantes que viajan con nosotros que tenemos que escoger personalmente basado en mérito.
Okay. All right. Now let's get to the good stuff. Culmination, graduation. We love graduation. It's so much fun. It's a lot of fun. It's like nonstop from here until then. Literally, we're tired. So in order for students to culminate, this is what we need to see. So every single student who leaves our Vista Heritage 8th grade, walks across that stage, gets their diploma, gets the A-OK, gets a hug, whatever they need, represents these 3 R's. They are respectful, they are responsible, and they are resilient. So we've been talking about this since the very beginning of the year. So respectful as a student is kind, respectful to everyone around them, and students recognize and respect others' perspectives. They're responsible. Students are coming in. They're coming in on time. They're wearing their uniforms. They are doing everything that is necessary in order to be prepared to work in the class. And lastly, resilience. This is our biggest one, especially this year. The world throws everything at us all at once. We don't always have good days, but it's how we get through those good days that really show our character. And that's how we are trying to show the 8th graders this year, as well as all of the students within Heritage, why resilience is so unbelievably important. So if a student were to culminate, these are the 3 things that we are looking at, as well as being a global citizen, which emanates all of this. Okay.
So, había una señora que nos preguntó si los estudiantes pueden graduarse o culminarse con 1 como su calificación. La respuesta es que sí, pero para culminar en nuestra escuela cada estudiante tiene que mostrar ser respetuoso, responsable y resiliente. Por ejemplo, lo que a nosotros nos importa es que los alumnos tratan a los adultos y sus compañeros con respeto. Que los alumnos terminan su trabajo, que los alumnos sean resilientes para presentarse cada día en clase y aprender a confrontar las injusticias de la vida. Okay? Esas son las calidades que nosotros estamos buscando y mirando para culminarlos.
At the very end of the year, we will have what we call a chords assembly. So students can get some fun swag. So all of our students here, literally every single one of them that I'm looking at right now, emulates at least one of these. So they do have an opportunity to receive one of these phenomenal chords. Each chord represents one of our 3 R's, so respect, responsibility, and resilience. That is going to be a special awards, and then they get to wear these during culmination, and then they get to keep them for the rest of their lives. So definitely be looking out for information on that, because if you see chords assembly, if you see awards assembly, this is what they're getting.
Así que habrá una asamblea de cordón. Cada cordón representa una de estas calidades. Así que si su hijo demuestra una de estas calidades, pueden esperar un cordón por cada calidad. Lo pueden usar para la culminación y graduación y quedarse con ella como souvenir.
All right. All right. We can go through this very quickly, because if your student, like I said, is at risk of not culminating, it's because you have been told by us either already, or you have been getting a lot of information from us about culmination, and there's been a lot of those discussions. You are more than aware of this. But just for the sake of clarity and make sure we're all understanding, a student who is at risk of not culminating has violated one of these 4, 5 things, meaning that they have ones in work habits from more than one teacher, meaning that if a student has Mr. Alloway for English and gets a 1, and has me for social studies and gets a 1, they're at risk of not culminating, okay? But let's say Mr. Alloway, or let's say one of my English students, and they're also my social studies students, has a 1 in work habits, that does not put them at risk of not culminating. It needs to be at least from 2 separate teachers, if that makes sense. No evidence, again, that literally means we have nothing to show them. The way to think of this is we want to be able to send your students off to high school with proof that they are ready to go for high school. If we don't have that proof to show that they're ready to go off to high school, we cannot say that they're ready to go off to high school. And then more than 5 tardies per quarter, uniform policy, there's like more than 5, and then multiple behavioral referrals. This actually comes from our admin, and this comes from those bigger mistakes. Okay.
Así que básicamente, así como dijo la señora, ustedes ya sabrán si su hijo está a riesgo de no culminarse, pero para clarificar, el único uno que su estudiante no puede tener más de uno de es en sus hábitos de trabajo. Si tiene un 1 en sus hábitos de trabajo, eso quiere comunicar con ustedes que su hijo distrae a los demás durante clase y no hace su trabajo. Si tiene más que un 1 en los hábitos de trabajo por más de un maestro, entonces está a riesgo de no culminarse porque no está haciendo su trabajo. Okay. Pero fuera de eso, por favor asegúrense que sus hijos lleguen a tiempo porque no pueden tener más que 5 tardanzas por trimestre. Yo diría que esto es la segunda causa más común en por qué los niños no se culminan. No deben tener más de 5 violaciones de la política de uniforme y no deberían de tener múltiples referencias conductales.
Every Thursday, you should also be receiving a live school report from your students that tells you how your student is doing. If you're seeing tardies on there a lot, if you're seeing being disruptive, not staying on task, and you're seeing that a lot on their live school reports, that could definitely be an indicator to you that when they get their report cards, their work habits are not going to be as great as you would want them to or we would want them to. If they're tardy a lot, you would have already been contacted by us. So where it's not one of those situations where a student's gonna be tardy a bunch and we just never let you know about it. We wanna make sure we're staying in consistent conversation with you about your student. So it's not gonna be a conversation one day of like your student's doing perfectly fine and then we call you up and we're like, by the way, your student was tardy, they're at risk of not culminating. That is not going to happen. There is steps that we take in place to ensure that you have full communication and full awareness of whether your child is at risk of culminating or not.
Ok, así que para resumir lo que dijo la señora, ustedes ya deberían de saber que cada jueves su estudiante recibe un informe de conducta que ustedes deben de firmar y su estudiante entregarle los viernes. Esto es nuestra única manera de comunicarnos con ustedes sobre la conducta de su hijo. Así que por favor, asegúrense que lo están firmando. Y quiero enfatizar lo que dijo la señora, que no habrá sorpresa de si mi hijo o hija está a riesgo de no culminar. Les vamos a llamar, vamos a decir esto es lo que está pasando con su hijo, puede entrar por una junta, lo que sea, pero no debería de ser una sorpresa que de repente su hijo no va a graduarse o culminarse. Lo siento, eso no es lo que va a pasar.
If your student does have an IEP or a 504, the culmination requirements still apply. It's the conversation that's a little different. So the conversation, if your student's at risk of not culminating, is we do look at that plan, we do look at those IEPs, make sure that we as the teachers are following that plan and following those accommodations, and to see what we can do in order to fix it. The other thing is if you haven't gotten had that first at-risk meeting yet, please know it is not a super scary, we're gonna tell you that your child is just not doing well. It's a conversation of what can we best do and what can your student do to culminate. What do we need to see from them? And it's a contract we all sign just to make sure that all of them are having consistent communication with what we need to see from them in order to culminate. Okay?
Si su estudiante tiene un IEP o un plan de 504 y corre a riesgo de no culminar, por favor asegúrense que nos reunimos para asegurarnos que todos los maestros y estudiantes estén alineados con las necesidades de su estudiante. Okay? Así que siempre estaremos en comunicación con ustedes si hay un problema en eso.
So if your student is at risk of not culminating, meaning that they are not eligible, we will be having a meeting, and the way that our process goes is we have a total of 3. So if your student gets all the way to that 3rd meeting, that means that we have tried multiple times, we've all sat down, we've all sat with your student, and that's when culmination, that serious culmination of they might not culminate, might happen. we're not going to get there. So we're not even going to be Debbie Downers because we ain't going to get there. We're fine. But instead what's going to happen is before we go off into spring break, every student that is at risk of not culminating will be given a phone call, and that meeting will occur before we get on to spring break. So you will be notified before then. The reason we want to do that is because we want to make sure we're checking in. So if your student has already had a meeting that they're at risk of not culminating, we want to check in with them within at least a month, check in with you, make sure that they're going with their terms of their contract. When we have the conferences, say, yep, they're still following it, we're still on track, we're still doing really well, and that becomes kind of the process. This is not we are trying to stop any student from culminating. Our goal is 100%. This is, we have seen a little things that we are kind of concerned about that's going to affect them in the future. How can we best support them now to make sure that they can be as successful as possible when they do go off to high school?
Alright, so voy a empezar con que ella terminó con. Primero, queremos que el 100% de nuestros estudiantes culminen y nosotros, los maestros, siempre trabajamos para apoyar a los estudiantes en su desarrollo. Básicamente, el proceso de los que están en riesgo de no culminar tendrán hasta 3 juntas. Si ya llegamos al tercer junta y estamos con problemas, entonces eso ya es quizás la junta cuando digamos que ya no se va a culminar. Así que con tal que no lleguen hasta el tercer junta, su hijo está bien, y cada vez que tenemos una junta siempre salimos con un plan que su hijo tiene que hacer esto, esto y esto para demostrar que puede culminar. Y así como les dije, estamos aquí para apoyar a su hijo. Okay, that's it.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right. Culmination week. So Culmination week is the very first week of June this year. So the way that it's going to go is if your student does receive one of these, we will be holding a special celebration with them on Monday night on June 3rd. It's going to be a banquet that you will be invited to. It's going to be a really cool celebration. We had it last year. It was really fun. We did it in my classroom when we were all like packed in like sardines. So hopefully we'll be in the cafeteria this time. But we provided dinner. It's just a night to just celebrate those that have really exemplified those 3 R's. Your student does have an opportunity to receive all 3. It's not just 1 or 2, okay? Tuesday is rehearsal day. This is just getting them prepared. This is just so you know. So it's extremely, extremely important that your child is here this day, because what we don't want to see is everybody going this way and your child goes that way. They'll be like, oh, we know where they were. Culmination graduation day. That is going to be on Wednesday, June 5th, okay? It's going to be at Templo Caravaggio at 5 o'clock. When they get here, we would like them here no later than 4:45. We're going to go through that in about a second. All dressed, ready to go within their culmination gear. So literally makeup head to toe, everything that they need, all the glitter, whatever they want. 4:45. The very next day, Knott's, that's going to be our Knott's Berry Farm trip. That is going to be, we're going to be sending out permission slips. That's actually inside of your folder as well, all ready to go in your return pocket. So you just need to sign this. If your child has a season pass, they do not have to pay. We'll get into that in a little bit later. And then finally, Friday is, they do need to come in because it is still school day. We would like to say hello, have a final like, what's up? And make sure that they get their gowns dropped off, and then their diplomas they get to take and go home, and then we cry a little bit, and then they go home.
Ok, aquí tenemos la semana que no se quieren perder, la semana de culminación que va desde las 3 hasta el 7 de junio. Esto es la última semana de escuela. Así como ven, el lunes tenemos nuestra banquete de ganadores del cordón, que son esos. El martes no quieren perderse el ensayo, los estudiantes, el ensayo de la culminación, para que saben dónde ir y qué hacer. El miércoles, esto es el día de la culminación. Por favor, ojo que es el miércoles y no el viernes ni el jueves, es el miércoles. ¿Ok? Deben de estar sus hijos aquí ya vestidos con maquillaje y su vestuario a las 4:45 porque empezamos a las 5. Y el jueves es el día que vamos a Knott's Berry Farm. Si su hijo tiene un paso de temporada, pueden usar eso. Si no, las entradas valen $30. Y el viernes, técnicamente, es un día escolar. pero con tal que su hijo deja su vestido y recoja su diploma, es todo, lo abrazamos, lloramos y nos despedimos.
You are all more than welcome to take a photo of this. It's also in your packet ready to go though.
Esto está
Just so you know. All of the slides will have all of this information for you all ready to go with all of this information, okay? All right. Knott's Berry Farm is going to be on June 6th. This is an all-day thing, so we literally leave at 8:45. Please make sure that your students here are on time, because at 8:45 we will all be on a bus and going like this to Knott's Berry Farm. So we want to try and get there as soon as possible. June is a huge day for Knott's Berry Farm, and there are a lot of people that come. And the last time we came any later than 8:45, I think we waited in line for about
Like
2 hours.
Yeah.
Just to get into the park.
Yeah.
That did not count all the lines and everything on top of it. We are there we leave at 8:45 and we get picked up and we should be back by 4 o'clock. What we do is that because our transportation takes everybody home, we're kind of like the last people that they come to pick up, and then we're the ones here. If we are running it any late, just make sure you have the Parent Square app, or we will make sure that students are texting you as well. And the way that Knott's Berry Farm goes is that they have a chaperone, which means that they will be assigned to any of the teachers or ourselves, but they are on their own. So they have full reign of the park. They have to stay in the park the entire day unless you come to sign them out. If you come to sign them out early, you actually have to come in and sign them out and let us know that that's who they're going with. And if they come with us, they have to leave with us. So we can't just leave them at the park. If you would like for your child to stay, absolutely totally fine. You need to come to the park and be with them so that you can sign them out, because if you don't, they're coming back with us. Just so you know. And it will be up to the chaperone to be able to take your child out so that you can sign them out so we can ensure that your child has been picked up. Tickets will be going on sale in May. There will be a survey going out this week. So if for whatever reason you are not able to afford the ticket, there is going to be a box on there that you are able to just check off so that we are able to figure out what to do with your students to make sure that they can still enjoy this day and still go. Okay. More information to come. Again, a lot of this information is going off on Parent Square, so if you don't have Parent Square, please get Parent Square.
Okay. Alright, so un poco de Knott's Berry Farm. Primero nos vamos aquí a las 8:45 de la mañana. Regresamos ya como a las 3:30, 4 de la tarde, como normal, pero normalmente es como a las 4. ¿Cómo funciona esto? Es que los estudiantes están libres para ir por el parque con tal que se registran con sus acompañantes adultos. Normalmente lo que hemos hecho en el pasado es que nos mandan fotos de un selfie en la línea donde están a un número de teléfono que solo funciona por el día. Pero es así como lo vigilamos. Si su estudiante viene con nosotros tiene que regresar a la escuela con nosotros. Si quiere que él o ella se quede en Knott's Berry Farm por el día, tú tienes que irte y tenemos que ver tu cara y decir, ok, Manuel se va a quedar con su mamá aquí hoy, ok, está bien. Y finalmente, si no pueden pagar por el boleto, ya que son $30, sí va a haber una casilla que puede marcar en la solicitud y el personal de la oficina se comunicará con usted más tarde. Y las entradas saldrán en la venta en mayo y tendremos más información por venir.
Okay, so Culmination Day is going to be on June, that's not the correct date.
June
June
it's like
5th.
May. Yeah, I mean the Wednesday.
Yeah, so it's June 5th.
Es miércoles.
Ignore. June 5th at 5 o'clock. Students may be picked up early that day to get ready because, as I have seen in my own classroom of the Sephora Ulta beauties that come into my room early in the morning trying to do their makeup, I know it takes a while. So you may pick up your child early for them to get ready. Caps will be distributed on Monday. So caps the students keep. The actual gown itself needs to be returned. So they get caps with tassels. The caps they can keep. they have to return this. Okay? These are the only things that we actually need back. The caps and gowns the gowns are actually going to be distributed on Tuesday because we want to make sure that they don't lose them. And then any other medals or anything like that they'll be getting on Tuesday.
Okay, muy bien. Así que un poco de información sobre la culminación. Esto debería decir 5 de junio. Normalmente el día de la culminación sí tenemos clases y si tiene que sacar a su hijo o hija para que se prepare, está bien que los recogen temprano ese día para que se preparen. Así como dijo la señora Mello, les vamos a distribuir un gorro y el vestido. El vestido se debe de regresar a nosotros, el gorro se puede quedar y adornar su hijo o hija. Y de hecho en el pasado la señora Mello ha abierto sus recursos para adornar los gorros. Y todos los medallas se distribuirán el martes.
So the caps themselves, they're actually able to decorate. So if your child would like to decorate their caps at all, would like to put pictures or anything like that, they are allowed to decorate their caps. If your child would like to receive the cap before, like the week before, so that they can make sure that they get them, as long as we have them, they are good to go, and as long as they don't lose them, we're good. So they can get their caps earlier if they want to start decorating, because I know that can take some time as well. What to wear? So this is the gown. This is the color of the gown. The cap is the exact same color as the gown. Underneath, we ask for business casual. So we want to avoid wearing jeans. We want to have more business casual. It's definitely not the prom, and I would not recommend the floor length gowns, only because of the fact you're going to be walking upstairs. The other thing with walking upstairs, I would not do huge heels, my loves, because it's going to be really embarrassing if you trip on the way up and then trip on the way down, because there ain't no handrails, okay? So let's avoid any, like stiletto heels. Let's just leave those at home. Small heels are great. Business casual, as far as underneath the gowns, as far as that's keeping for them.
Muy bien, así que la opción de armario se llama informal de negocios y los colores deben hacer juego con ese color y deben evitar usar jeans, deben evitar usar vestidos largos y deben evitar usar tacones altos para la culminación.
Okay. The last thing for culmination is, this is one of the best parts. Culmination is really, really fun. We want to make sure that every single person that is there to celebrate the student is able to come, which means that we do not have a max limit on the amount of guests that you want to invite. So if you literally want to invite your whole neighborhood, well, maybe don't do that. But if you want to invite everybody you want to, please bring them. You can invite as many guests as you want. There's not a cap for any family at all whatsoever. So you can bring aunts, uncles, no pets, or else my dog would be there as well. Culmination will also be live streamed. So if anybody is unable to go, we will be live streaming it, so you're able to see it online. Gowns must be returned by the last day of school. We need to have those. The only way that your child can actually get their certificate is if they turn in their gown. It literally is like, yes, they turned in their gown, here's their certificate. On the actual day, please make sure your students are here by 4:45 because we line up, we walk over, and we start promptly at 5 o'clock to make sure that we are all ready to go. Okay?
Alright, muy breve, no hay límite para la cantidad de invitados que pueden traer a la culminación. La culminación también se transmitirá en vivo a través de YouTube y una vez que ya entregan el vestido de graduación, eso va a ser cuando su hijo obtiene su diploma de certificado de graduación. Okay.
There was one other thing I was going to say. Flowers, leis, balloons, air blowers. We would ask not for the air blowers inside of Templo. However, if you would like to bring balloons, flowers, or anything like that, you are more than welcome to. There's going to be a little reservation area for you to drop them off, and then you'll be able to pick them up at the very end of culmination. So those are all allowed. Any sashes, any leis that you would like for them to wear, anything like that that's special, they are more than welcome to wear before, during, after the culmination as well.
Así que si quieren traer flores, globos, fajines, lo que sea, este año lo vamos a permitir.
Okay. Any last questions or anything like that with Culmination? Please do not leave here without a black folder for your students so we can make sure that you have all the information. If you were not able to attend, then we will be giving out those folders tomorrow to make sure that you do have that information as well.
Okay. Por favor, no se vayan sin su carpeta negro y ahí tendrán todos los recursos que hemos hablado.
Okay. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here tonight and getting all this really important information. We really, really appreciate it. Now we're actually going to be turning it over to Mr. Spire for Vista Meridian. So, Mr. Spire, he will be here for Meridian. If you would like to stay, then you may. It's going to be some amazing information, so please feel free to stay.
Okay. Hoy, Meridian High School.
I appreciate it. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you guys so much. All right. And afterward, yeah, we're going to talk as fast as we possibly can because we have pozole waiting outside for you guys. We have plenty of food. And so we practice, we're under 20 minutes. We're going to stay under 20 minutes, be as fast as we possibly can.
Les prometemos de que va a ser rápido. Tenemos pozole para ustedes aquí afuera, así que si se esperan nos da paciencia. Ya practicamos y lo tenemos como a 15 minutos, o va a ser rápido.
Okay. So, welcome everyone. Bienvenidos a todos. My name is Trent Spire. I am the principal of Vista Meridian. Me llamo Trent Spire, soy el director de Vista Meridian.
Buenas tardes a todos, gracias por estar aquí, su paciencia. Él es el director de la escuela de la High School de Meridian, el señor Spire, y aquí tenemos nuestra presentación. Y yo soy uno de los consejeros, me llamo Jesús Montoya.
Yo soy la señora Marchán, la maestra de historia en Vista Meridian.
My name is Mary Eileen Young. I'm one of the school counselors.
I'm Richard Jimenez. I am the athletics director.
So we'll go ahead and get started. Do you want So today we're going to go, here's a little agenda we're doing for today. We're doing introductions. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about our purpose at Meridian. Then we'll talk to you guys about a lot of the great things that are happening in Meridian. And I won't go through all of this, but we'll go through all that in a minute.
Y esta es la agenda de hoy. Así que vamos a hablar acerca de varias cosas, pero brevemente, en el cual vamos a hablar de nuestro propósito, acerca del colegio temprano que ofrecemos,
Las prácticas que tenemos emblemáticas en nuestras clases y un poquito de los deportes. Va a ser toda la información rápida para que sepan un poquito más sobre nosotros como preparatoria.
aparte de eso, las pasantías, lo que es la práctica de trabajo, también de nuestro edificio, de la high school, vamos a hablar acerca de eso, y luego también responder preguntas.
All right. And so over here, this is the mission and vision of Vista. I know the print's really small, so this is on our website if you would like to read it. But instead of reading this to you, I want to talk to you a bit about our purpose of why we do what we do at Meridian.
Esta es nuestra misión y nuestra visión. O sea, lo pueden leer, está en nuestro sitio de internet, pero lo que más queremos, el mensaje que les queremos dar es de por qué estamos aquí, por qué abrimos nuestra escuela y por qué estamos aquí para ustedes.
And as we all know, high school is a very important part in everyone's life. High school is a very important part of everyone's life, which means we start making decisions as we turn into teenagers and we start turning into adults.
Y en la escuela preparatoria hay muchos cambios que pasan, en el cual los jóvenes que se están convirtiendo en adolescentes y luego pronto van a ser adultos. Y cómo los podemos preparar a ese desarrollo y dónde van a ir después de la preparatoria.
And so what is our purpose? Our purpose as a school that helps students prepare from going from a teenager to adult, our purpose is simple. Our purpose as a school is to help students identify their own purpose as human beings.
Nuestro propósito es simple. Lo que nosotros queremos hacer es ayudar a cada estudiante a realizarse y encontrar su propio propósito en la vida y su ruta que van a tomar.
So what we're going to talk to you about today is how we do that and how we build pathways for students to be successful whatever they want to do and removing any barriers success students may have. And we'll start today by talking about our early college pathway.
Y vamos a hablar acerca de cómo es que vamos a ayudarlos a desarrollarse y llegar a ese propósito. qué es lo que les vamos a proveer y que tengas esas herramientas para llegar a ese propósito. Y lo primero que vamos a conversar acerca de colegio temprano. So I'll say this in English first and in Spanish. So we offer early college here. We offer the opportunity for students to take college classes while they're in high school. College classes they do not have to pay for, and college classes that are transferable to whatever university that is that applied to. And this is a list right here of a couple classes that we've been offering and are currently offering. For example, we offer study skills. We want to make sure students know the appropriate study skills of what is expected at the college level. Also, we've been offering and have offered a class for history of rock and roll, rock music, history and appreciation. And that's something that your students can take before they continue on to take introduction to psychology in terms of how the mind works. We also have offered and will be offering and are currently offering introduction to innovation and entrepreneurship. Students have an opportunity to get a certificate in entrepreneurship as well in global business. But also looking at classes that we're incorporating this summer, such as Chicano Arts and global business. These are examples of some of the classes we're incorporating. Así que, por ejemplo, estudiantes tienen la oportunidad de tomar cursos colegiales a nivel ya que están en la high school. Este verano vamos a ofrecer y hemos ofrecido habilidades de estudios, en el cual pueden aprender las expectativas, lo que son los cursos colegiales y cómo adquirir a esos requisitos de cursos que pueden transferir a diferentes universidades. También la historia del rock and roll es uno de los cursos que se ha ofrecido y también se va a ofrecer por siguiente. Después de eso pueden tomar introducción a la psicología en términos de cómo es que funciona el cerebro y todo lo científico basado en eso. También se va a ofrecer y se está ofreciendo al presente la clase de introducción a innovación en empresario. En términos de si sus estudiantes quieren aprender de cómo llegar a la profesión de empresario, se ofrece un certificado para poder cumplir y desarrollar esa carrera. También las clases que se van a incorporar para el verano y siguiente son el arte chicano y también negocios globales, para que aprendan de cómo es que son los negocios a nivel internacional.
So, aquí en Vista Meridian nuestras clases son un poco diferentes a las clases tradicionales que se encuentran en la preparatoria. Sabemos que los muchachos tienen que estar listos para interactuar con el mundo global, así que hemos puesto en práctica ciertas estrategias para ayudarles a desarrollarse. So, tenemos un enfoque especial que se llama educación global, donde los muchachos investigan el mundo, aprenden a cómo comunicar sus ideas, aprenden cómo tomar acción, que es lo más importante, que ya han empezado aquí en Heritage. También hacemos lo que se llama calificación basada en los estándares. Lo que quiere decir es que nuestros muchachos tienen varias oportunidades durante el año para subir esas calificaciones. Como entendemos que cuando cambian de la middle school a la high school, va a haber un poquito de dificultad para algunos de ellos de esa transición. Así que tomamos eso en cuenta. Eso, las calificaciones aquí en Vista Meridian son de todo el año. Eso quiere decir que no son final hasta mayo, junio. So, tienen varias oportunidades para poder recuperar créditos si han perdido créditos. También les enseñamos estrategias colaborales, como cómo trabajar con otros muchachos, cómo hablar con otros muchachos, con adultos, cómo comunicarse. Y también tenemos un enfoque especial en nuestras clases de ciencia que se llaman Project Lead the Way. Y en esas clases tienen laboratorio, tienen proyectos, tienen un enfoque médico, pero va a haber más clases que vamos a agregar. So here at Meridian, we know that our students are going to be interacting with a more global world, so we do want to make sure we're preparing them for college, career, and knowing how to be out there in the world. So we do teach them how to communicate ideas, how to investigate the world, something that they've already started at Heritage, and we just continue that practice. We also have a special focus in our science classes called Project Lead the Way, and in those classes they have very much a hands-on approach where they do projects, they do dissections. I mean, they take on different types of labs, and it's really, really interesting. We also make sure that they know how to interact with other students, how to talk to other students, how to communicate with adults. So we do implement different types of collaborative strategies. And then we are also very much mastery based. What that means, and that's very different from most of our traditional high schools around us, what that means is that our students have an entire year to basically pull up their scores. Their scores or their grades are not final until May, June. So that gives them several opportunities to make up or recover any credits that they may be missing, because we know that the transition from middle school into high school can be difficult for a lot of our students. So we take that into account. And then part of Vista Meridian, we also do what's called Way of Counsel, which is a safe space where our students can share experiences. And so that's what our classes look like here at Vista Meridian.
Because we are a global school, one of the things that we really try to focus on for our students is field trips and getting them out into the world so that they can start to envision themselves in different settings. We take our students to local colleges and universities. We try and take them behind the scenes so they can experience what it would be like to be a college student in that classroom, meet with professors. We went to the Orange County Superior Court and they got to talk to all sorts of legal employees and learn more about that field. But then we also take them to professional workshops and conferences. Last week, a group of our young women went to the Women in STEM conference and they were able to speak with professionals, talk to all sorts of different companies, and really start to investigate if that's a field they want to be in.
Así que también los llevamos a diferentes excursiones y diferentes actividades, viajes de fuera del campo de aquí de plantel. Por ejemplo, los hemos llevado a oportunidades que pueden ver a nivel colegial, no nomás aquí local, pero en diferentes universidades. También la experiencia detrás de la escena, en el cual pueden ver nuestros programas universitarios y cómo se están desarrollando y involucrarse en ellos. Por ejemplo, recién llevamos un grupo de estudiantes a la Corte Superior, en el cual podemos colaborar con profesionales que trabajan el sistema de leyes y ver qué es lo que hacen en la vida cotidiana en esos labores. También la semana pasada llevaron un grupo de jovencitas de aquí de la escuela de la high school a Los Ángeles, en el cual puedo estar en un evento específicamente para muchachitas en las ciencias y cómo es que pueden desarrollarse a ese nivel profesional. Y eso es un ejemplo de varias oportunidades que se les dan para que puedan ser parte de diferentes talleres y conferencias para que puedan conectar su educación a nivel profesional.
All right. I'm the athletic director here, and at Meridian, we are huge on building our athletic program. And that means that we have enough sports here. If you see how many sports we do for fall, winter, and spring, it's enough to be all-inclusive and let everybody participate. So if your son or daughter is interested in joining any of these sports, please have them come see me, and we'll get them going. We do offer all these sports for each season.
So, él es el director de nuestro departamento de deportes. Nosotros tratamos de tener un programa que incluye a absolutamente todos los estudiantes. Les enseñó una lista de todos los deportes que se ofrecen, disculpen. So, va a hablar un poquito más sobre los deportes.
With the size school that we have right now, we have a little less than 200 students. Next year, we probably will be over that for the high school. But with that, we have about 65 to 70% of our students participate in athletics. So that's a real good thing for the kids to be involved in. It gets them doing things after school except going to hang out, and they get to be participating in sports.
So, nuestra escuela es pequeña, tenemos un poquito menos de 200 estudiantes ahorita, y de esos 200, 65 al 70% de nuestros estudiantes participan en algún deporte. So, es bueno para ellos.
So far, we've been able to have a no-cut policy. So if you want to come out and play sports, you're on the team. So that's a good thing.
So, también como les ofrecemos esta oportunidad a todos los estudiantes, tenemos una póliza de no eliminar a ningún estudiante que quiere participar. So, si su hijo o su hija quiere participar, están garantizados que pueden entrar al deporte de que prefieren.
Here's the best thing. There are no fees to participate. At other schools you might go and they ask you for a fee to participate or play in a sport. Here we don't ask you for anything. Most things you'll be spending money on is maybe cleats that you have to for your kid to wear for any kind of sport that they're going to do, or tennis shoes for basketball or volleyball or something like that. But otherwise, we cover everything with uniforms. Sometimes we get socks, hats, whatever we can get it for us. And the admin here has been great with supporting our sports teams.
So, no hay ninguna cuota para participar en nuestro programa de deportes, que es diferente a otras escuelas. Otras escuelas piden que se pague alguna cuota, pero aquí no. El único costo que van a tener va a ser comprando los tacates o los zapatos para participar, pero eso va a ser la mayoría del costo. Nosotros proveemos los uniformes y proveemos todo lo demás, el equipo que se va a necesitar para que participen.
Also, there's free transportation. So we bus the kids to the games and back. And then when the athletes come back in the afternoon at night, we have a van or two vans that leave at 6 o'clock that make sure they get dropped off at their sites that they are dropped off when they go on the bus, or they get them close to home. So you don't have to worry about picking them up. We make sure they have transportation.
So, también te proveemos transportación gratis para todos nuestros deportistas, para los juegos y de regreso a la escuela. Si sus estudiantes toman el autobús o una de las venes después de escuela, nosotros siempre tenemos venes aquí que los llevan a sus rutas normales y nos aseguramos de que lleguen a casa.
Also, we hire coaches. Most coaches are on site here. They're teachers at the school. So we train them and make sure that the students have and the athletes have the best coaches out here, so they're getting trained up ready for the season.
So, también nuestros entrenadores son maestros aquí de la escuela, so nos aseguramos de que están preparados para entrenar a los estudiantes en cualquier deporte específico.
One of the positives with being in sports is that we do grade checks weekly. So they have a grade check, they take it to each teacher, the teacher signs it off. We can also have it be where the parent, they take it home to you, you get to see all their grades every week. They get signed off. If the coach gets that back, Mr. Spire signs it, they see it, and if they get it back and their grades are slipping, we kind of help them along and keep them good with their grades. But this is all good stuff that goes along with our sports program.
So, la última parte que queremos compartir de nuestro programa de deportes es de que nuestros estudiantes que participan tienen que tener ciertas calificaciones. So, cada semana se firma un progreso donde tienen la lista de todas sus calificaciones, y si están con cierto promedio, entonces pueden participar. Ustedes como padres reciben esa lista porque la tienen que firmar, la regresan a nuestra escuela y a nuestro director dice si sí puede, los aprueba, o dice hoy no puedes, o esta semana no puedes participar porque tus calificaciones están muy bajas. So, todo eso son cosas positivas para nuestros deportistas.
While the athletic program is super wonderful and a great opportunity for your students to start to build their resume for future college and career applications, we also make sure to provide students with the opportunity for internships. When students come to the counseling department and request to find an internship, or as we're starting to see more and more companies have heard how great our students are and they are reaching out to us to request internships, we will help your student through that process, support them through the entire application, and make sure they are career ready.
También ofrecemos lo que se consideran las pasantías, que es las prácticas de lo que es un trabajo, una profesión, en el cual estamos elaborando esas oportunidades. Y siempre cuando un estudiante viene con uno de los consejeros, o es mencionado conmigo, pueden preguntar acerca de estas oportunidades. Hemos tenido varias oportunidades en los veranos y durante el año escolar, pero más en el verano, en el cual pueden participar en esas oportunidades. Y las estamos elaborando aún más. Esto no nomás les ayuda a los estudiantes a tener esa conexión con una profesión, pero también desarrollar sus habilidades y cómo pueden aprender lo que es una profesión, si les interesa, cómo llegar a otra. Así que estas son varias oportunidades que queremos que las aprovechen.
So as far as where we will be next year and beyond, right now we are having really good talks with a facility here in Santa Ana that is just a great facility that we think is going to really serve the needs of our students.
Entonces, al momento estamos teniendo comunicaciones muy directas y constantes con un lugar aquí en Santana, ubicado cercano, en el cual vamos a poder desarrollar la high school y ahí tener nuestro propio plantel.
So one thing that a few things we're really happy about, it has a full regulation size field that is lit, so we could play sports at night. We have a gym, an auditorium, a large cafeteria, and plenty of outdoor space to do all kinds of activities with our students.
So, también tenemos un campo de reglamiento con luces, o si tienen que entrenar los muchachos en la noche, tenemos el campo y todo. También hay un gimnasio, una cafetería grande, a mucho espacio para estacionamientos, es un edificio grande.
So the other thing, the only reason I can't tell you where it is because we're very close to signing the lease and very close to coming up with an agreement with this organization. As soon as we come with an agreement with this organization, who runs this building, we are going to let everyone know, and I would like to invite all 8th grade parents and students to come see it and to come see what great facility it is. Hopefully that will be soon.
En el momento de que esto se establezca y ya se finalice, queremos informarles inmediatamente. La única razón de por qué no se les puede decir al momento dónde está ubicado es porque queremos asegurar de que está seguro y les digamos exactamente dónde va a quedar ubicado ya que lo tengamos firmado. Así que ahorita las conversaciones están finalizando para poder invitarlos y en el momento de que ya lo tengamos fijo, se les va a abrir para que vayan y visitar el lugar. Los vamos a invitar. Queremos que esté allí para que sepan exactamente dónde van a estar los estudiantes para la high school de Morelia.
The only thing I don't like about the new building is it might make Miss Alessandra a little bit jealous. That's the only thing I don't like about it.
Lo único que sí podemos decir es que el lugar nuevo que estamos ahorita en negociaciones para establecer les va a dar un poco de celos a la directora Miss Alessandra porque en verdad está fenomenal.
They'll be fine, they don't have us, so it's fine.
Very good. Okay, so here's our contact information. If you guys want to reach out to any of us, here's our email, our school phone's right below. If you have any questions for that you want to ask in front of everyone, that might be good for everyone, you're welcome to ask them now. Or you can just ask us one-on-one. We'll be hanging out, and we'll also be getting the pozole out here in just a moment as well.
So, para finalizar nuestra presentación, aquí están nuestros correos electrónicos. Si tiene alguna pregunta general que a lo mejor todos van a tener, la puede hacer ahorita. Si no, vamos a estar aquí también individualmente si tiene preguntas para específicas personas. Pero les vamos a traer el pozole, así que si quieren pozole, espérense un poquito más y ahorita les servimos.
We also have enrollment packets and flyers with different information about the early college program and a field trip that is coming up where students can go with us to Santa Ana College to see their auto program and learn about the classes they can take with the auto program.
Y también tenemos la solicitud para inscripción porque hacer la transición de Heritage a Meridian se necesita llenar una solicitud. También tenemos información acerca de los cursos de colegio en los cuales los estudiantes ya pueden aprovechar empezando este verano y a la vez también tenemos un volante acerca de una excursión que se va a hacer pronto y se les va a abrir la oportunidad a los estudiantes de octavo grado. Toda esa información está disponible en la mesa. Queremos que aprovechen esta oportunidad de comer pozole, hacer preguntas y llevar su información.
Y más una cosa antes de que se vayan y que comen su pozole, por favor, si no han hecho su conferencia, la fecha de su conferencia, favor de verlo aquí en la mesa para firmar. Okay, gracias por venir y buenas noches a todos.